Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Key to Success podcast. I'm your host, Chris. You can find me on Twitter at I'm Just Greatness. So, our topic today is why. Why is such a complex question? It's something that you honestly should ask yourself very, very often. If you don't have an answer for that, then life will seem pretty pointless. If you don't have your why, you have to know it down to a T. Like, you have to understand it. You have to have follow-up answers. Your why is so vital to success, because why tells you why you're doing it, why you're doing everything you're doing to get to a point you're trying to reach. Have you ever felt like you just don't know what you're doing with your life and it's useless and everything is pointless and you're wasting your time? That's really because you don't know why you're doing it. You don't know why you woke up this morning. If you don't know why you woke up this morning, you need to really reevaluate what's going on with you. Your why is important. You have to know why you do everything you do. Every decision you make will affect your goals. No matter how small you think it is, the time you decide to wake up, the time you decide to leave the house, how much time you spend scrolling on Facebook, all of these things affect what you're doing, which in turn affects your why. Because your why is basically your goal. It's a shorter way to put your goal. So you have to have a great understanding of why you even woke up this morning, why you're doing everything that you're doing, why are you talking to this person, why are you driving this way. Everything you do matters, every decision. Your why is extremely important. And you ever notice those people who just hate life, who just hate everything and are always upset? They're usually upset because they don't have a why. They don't understand what's going on. Everything in their life is just a blur. It's just whatever. They don't really care about anything. They're usually negative people. Those people have no idea. They aren't even close as to why they woke up this morning. They have no idea. They're lost. And I won't say that if you're lost, you can't be found, but there are definitely important steps you need to take to find your way. So, coming up with your why, there are various ways that you can do this. But there are various reasons as to why your why is important. First off, we have purpose. Your why gives you a purpose. If you're in school, why are you in school? It's to graduate. If you work this job, why is to pay bills. Pretty simple, right? But when you look deeper into it, your why has to be why you get up in the morning. Successful people, their why is the same reason why they wake up every morning. Successful people find a way to work their why into their passion. Whereas if I'm an athlete, my goal is to be a professional athlete to where I get paid to do what I do, so that my why intertwines everything I'm doing in life. Because that is the only way to true happiness, is when you basically do what you love. Your why has to be tied into your happiness. If your goal is to be, let's just say, a teacher, and you work at 24-hour fitness, that your current job doesn't tie into your why. So that job is, if it hasn't started feeling pointless now, it will eventually. Because your why causes you to get up every single morning. One thing that helped me figure out my why is I wrote it down. I made it visible every morning. Even when I was homeless, living in my car, I wrote everything I wanted to do with my life. I wrote 5 key points down on a flashcard and put it on a dashboard. And every morning I would wake up, freezing cold, I would still see my why. This is why you're up every single morning. Like, your why has to be your solid ground. That's your foundation. Without your why, life will seem very, very meaningless and pointless. So why is what keeps you going. You have to remind yourself why you do everything that you do. When you're in school and it gets hard and it seems impossible, your why is something that you rely on. It leads me to my next point. Your why is good because it's something for you to fall back on. Things get hard and it just seems impossible. Like, your why should be the reason why you don't give up. If you have to work this job to pay your bills, to take care of your family, that's why you continue to show up. And you have to continuously remind yourself of that constantly, over and over again, or else eventually you'll quit that job. You have to understand why you do every single thing that you do. Another good example is when you go to the gym and you're working out and it just seems impossible. Right when you want to give up and sit and just say, I don't need to do that extra set. You got to remind yourself why you came in the first place. You didn't come to the gym to just go home and not finish your workout. You didn't come to the gym to watch other people work out. You came to the gym to put some real work in. And you have to remember why you went there in the first place. Are you trying to get in better shape? Do you want to add muscle? Do you just want to tone up? Whatever it is, you have to remember why you're doing it. One thing I notice is a lot of people give up when things get hard. And you have the people who give up right when they start because they just don't even want to finish anything. You have the people who give up somewhere around the middle. But then you have probably the worst person in the group, the person who gets all the way near the finish line, right there at the end, and then they give up. When things get hard, that should let you know you're going in the right direction. Anything worth having isn't easy. If you want to be the owner of a business, you can't do that and it'd be easy. It's not going to be easy unless it's given to you and you're a spoiled brat, but then you didn't earn it. I'm talking about the people who had to really, really put in work. It's not easy. It's never going to be easy, ever. And your why is something to remind you that it won't ever be easy, but this is why I'm doing this, why I'm here, and I'll be all right. So don't be one of those people that gives up right when the going gets tough. Because the people who make it through that are the successful people. These are the people who we go to for advice. And the millionaires, the entrepreneurs with thousands of views, millions of views every day, millions of followers, get paid to speak. These are the people who hit that wall and then found a way to keep going. Your why is your way to keep going. And that seems crazy to say, but that's the test that you have to go through to reach success. If it was easy, everybody would do it. Too many people live their lives and don't try anything because they're afraid of failing. They don't continue with anything. They give up very easily. But you have to have your why so that even when it seems impossible, when it seems like it just can't happen or it won't happen, you only receive negative energy, you don't get any support from friends and family, your why has to be the reason that you keep going. Even if you're the only one that believes in this why, you have to keep going. You don't need anybody else on your bandwagon. You having your why is enough. Humans, we have enough power. We have enough within us to always continuously keep going. We don't need anybody else. We don't really need it. Our minds tell us that. Society tells us that. But you have to change your thinking to where you believe that no matter what anybody else says or does, you will be successful. When I started the Greatness Podcast Network, I didn't have any followers. I didn't have any believers. I just started out with a show. I woke up one day and said, okay, I'm going to create one of the best podcast networks out there that covers all different areas of life. And I didn't have any supporters at the time. I didn't have any plan. I just had an idea, had why. I knew what I wanted to do. And why is because the freedom. I can not only get my voice out there, I can also help others get their voice out there, which has happened. The Greatness Podcast Network grew from 1 show to 5 within a month. And now I have multiple people that have outlets to get their voice out there, to get their message across. So in some people's terms, I'm successful. But of course, the Greatness Podcast Network isn't where I want it to be. But getting it started definitely has been a great accomplishment. Your why must be developed personally. We've all seen the movies where they're like the young kids, the rich, their parents are rich, or the high school quarterback, and everybody's just telling them what to do, and they don't really want to do what they're doing. It's just they're told to do it. High school quarterback doesn't want to be a quarterback. He wants to be a musician or something, or an artist. And his dad just is living through him vicariously. So he forces him to basically do that. An important thing about your why is you have to develop it personally. You can't allow anyone else to do that. The high school quarterback who's forced to be one will never be happy if that's all he does, even if he's good at it, because that's not what he really wants to do. That's not his true passion. If that's not his true passion and it doesn't match up with his why, he'll never fully be successful. It's also important to develop your own why. because only you know what it is. Nobody else knows what it is that keeps you going. For me, it could be one thing. For you, it could be something else. But if your parents come up with this why for you, then it won't be as effective. If your friends come up with it, it won't be as effective. You have to develop your own why, because that comes from your own passion and things you feel in your heart. And you can't describe to people what you feel in your heart. But in reality, you have to come up with it on your own. If you don't, it won't really feel natural. It won't feel like an actual why. You'll always be questioning it. Your life will never seem fulfilled. Like for me, my dad always wanted me to be a police officer. And my thing is, I don't want to be a police officer. I want to have my own business. I want to be my own boss. I want financial freedom, things like that. You can't obtain that when you work within someone else's system. But so my why kept me from doing things like that. It kept me from listening to what he's saying. I already knew my own why. I've known my why since I was 12 years old. I've been called crazy and different and just ridiculed for the way I think and the way I see different things in life. And I was never upset about it. I'm never mad about it. I accept it. I'm different. I understand that. My why is all that I need to keep me going. Another thing is, when you have that why, you may not always receive the support that you think you deserve. Sometimes your friends, family, people you've known your whole life will call you crazy because of your why. And that's okay. That's okay. As long as you're following your why, things will work out for you. You have to follow your why, put your best foot forward every single day. That's why you have to wake up every morning, look at it in the mirror, write your why in the background on your phone, or put it as your lock screen, put it on your TV, on your computer, anywhere you can see it every morning and before you go to sleep. Remind yourself constantly what your why is. This will help you get throughout every single day. And when things get hard, when nobody believes in you, all you need is your why. Just remember why you're doing it, and you'll be all right. One more trick I have for people that want to figure out their why. So if you have no idea, you just feel lost, one thing you can do is make a list. Make a list of the 10 most important things or people in your life. After you have that 10, flip the page over and cut that list of 10 down to 5. Cut that list of 5 down to 3. And after that, you should see a pattern. Whichever is definitely on all of those lists is your why. That's the most important. It's just more difficult for you to narrow down and focus on. But after writing down your why, you'll definitely have it figured out. Make that list, keep trimming it, and you'll see the pattern. So always remember why. It gives you a purpose. It's good for a fallback plan. And remember to develop your why personally. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Key to Success podcast. Please subscribe on iTunes and Google Play. Visit our Facebook page at the Greatness Podcast Network. Go into the comments and tell me your why. Explain your story. I want to hear it. I'll give the best why a shout out on our next show. Also, if you like a free audiobook and a free 30-day trial, go to audibletrial.com/GPN. You can add these books to your iPad, Kindle, any Android. It's very, very an amazing business they got going at Audible. You get 30 days free. Everybody go check it out. But if you want to get it for free, go to audibletrial.com/GPN. Again, this is your host, Chris, and I'm here to remind you to always be who you are and not who it's convenient to be.